In the Conjuring universe, some creatures are more dangerous than anything you could ever imagine. They're not just manifestations of the supernatural, they are the very personification of terror. And today, we're gonna talk about the 5 most deadly creatures in the Conjuring universe and why you'd never survive them. Before we begin, I might make a part 2 of this list, so make sure to subscribe to support the channel and also bless the like button so you don't soil your pants with today's video. In 5th place, we have Bathsheba Sherman, a witch and fanatical devil worshipper. She was such a huge fan of the devil that she even sacrificed her own son to please him. Introduced in the first Conjuring movie, we learn that even after she took her own life by hanging herself on her farm, Bathsheba's evil spirit continued to haunt the earth, tormenting her former property. True to her curse, the witch haunted the families who moved into her house. Her spirit would torment the family continuously, eventually possessing the mother of the family, forcing her to send her children to the beyond, before compelling the matriarch to do the same. Bathsheba was so powerful that she even managed to control the spirits of her victims, forcing them to continue residing in the house with her, living in constant fear of her curse. Bathsheba shouldn't be underestimated. She voluntarily gave her soul to the devil, rather than merely having her soul corrupted by earthly passions. Additionally, she has the ability to violently touch living beings, has superhuman strength, can float, possess emotionally unstable people, teleport, and even manipulate other demons like Annabelle. If you moved into this witch's house, survival would be nearly impossible. Bathsheba caused a lot of trouble for the Warren couple, resisting an exorcism session performed by Ed. Not only that, but she managed to dominate Lorraine, and by touching her necklace, she teleported to the medium's house, where she haunted Judy, the Warrens' daughter. Bathsheba even partnered with Malthus, the demon attached to Annabelle. The Warrens' abilities proved ineffective against this vengeful spirit, which was only defeated by Carolyn, who was able to rid herself of Bathsheba's presence by focusing her mind on the good memories she had with her family from the past. In 4th place, we have the Black Shuck from Annabelle 3, also known as the Hellhound and Werewolf. This creature was first investigated by demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren after a series of cattle deaths in England. The Warrens connected the deaths to the Hellhound and managed to capture and contain it inside a book that chronicled its legend. They then took the book back to their home in the United States, blessed it, and locked it in their cursed room. Many years later, the Warrens' daughter, Judy, is at home being watched by a girl named Daniela Rios, who, having just lost her father, comes up with a devious plan. She waits until the other girls are distracted and sneaks into the Warrens' basement, attempting to find a tool to contact her deceased father. Unfortunately, she ends up releasing the Black Shuck from its prison, and once free, it begins terrorizing the people in the house. One of the unlucky victims is Bob, Mary Ellen's boyfriend, who is suddenly attacked by the creature in the yard and runs to hide in the Warren's chicken coop. Judy, Mary Ellen, and Daniela manage to grab the Annabelle doll, and after avoiding the other released spirits, they manage to lock the Black Shuck back in the case, defeating it. The Black Shuck may not seem too scary, but if you encountered it, you'd most likely not survive. This creature is extremely fast, can easily sniff out its prey, has animalistic strength and sharp claws. As demons, they like to induce fear in their victims, so they play with them, pretending to give them a chance to escape only to trap them at the moment of their flight. If you don't know the specific exorcism needed to contain the Black Shuck, forget it. It's time to say goodbye.
This.
Winning the bronze medal, we have a legend from Mexican folklore, the vengeful bride known as La Llorona. Believe it or not, the movie The Curse of La Llorona is the ugly duckling of the Conjuring franchise that Warner wants you to forget, as the film was heavily criticized by both the press and the public. Anyway, in 1673, a mother was playing in the forest with her 2 children. One of them gifted her a necklace. The child falls asleep. A few hours later, the kid wakes up, and while searching for his family, he found his mom drowning his older brother in a river. The boy tried to run, but the woman grabs and drowns him in the water. Shortly after sending her children to the afterlife, the woman, desperate, threw herself into the water to join them. However, that didn't happen. Instead of being allowed to pass, the woman was forced to wander the earth searching for her lost children. She became known as La Llorona, and anyone who hears her cry would be marked by her. 300 years later, in Los Angeles, California, La Llorona began to haunt Patricia Alvarez and her 2 children, leading the mother to lock lock her children in a shelter for protection. Due to Patricia's children not showing up at school, social worker Anna is called to rescue the boys, suspecting Patricia might be hurting them. Upon arriving at the house, Anna ignores Patricia's warnings that she was protecting her children, instead opening the door where they were locked and taking the boys to the foster home, unaware of the consequences this would bring. Unfortunately, the two boys are lured by the entity and are taken to a river where they are drowned by the malevolent force. Seeking revenge against Anna for her intrusion, Patricia fervently prays to the entity, begging her to take Anna's children in exchange for returning hers to her. Before the revenge is carried out, Anna strikes La Llorona with an artifact known as the Fire Cross, made from the wood of the same place where the woman originally drowned her children. In the end, La Llorona's spirit is destroyed by the artifact as she dissolves into blood. When all seems well, Anna discovers a puddle that appears to be tears, suggesting that La Llorona may not have disappeared completely. This entity is more powerful than the previous ones because she isn't confined to physical barriers. La Llorona can essentially access any part of the world as long as there are two children the same age as hers nearby. Additionally, she can become invisible, and her power is capable of harming people in many ways, both physically and mentally. The only way to stop her is with the blessed wood found in the forest where she drowned her children, which is terrible news if you ever have to face her. After all, the legend of La Llorona doesn't clearly state where the tragedy occurred. On top of that, Mexico is a huge country, so it would take a long time to find the blessed wood, which would definitely give her the advantage to catch you or your children in the process. The silver medal could only go to a creature that is none other than Annabelle, the sinister doll that might seem harmless at first but will traumatize you for the rest of your life if you're not careful. In James Wan's cinematic horror universe, few figures have become as iconic and feared as the Annabelle doll. Inspired by a real-life case investigated by demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren, the Annabelle in the movies isn't just a possessed object, she's a conduit for pure evil. The story starts long before the doll arrives at the Warrens' house. In Annabelle, Creation of Evil, we're taken to the 1950s, where a toy maker and his wife, devastated by the tragic death of their daughter, try to cope with their grief. In a moment of desperation, they pray to any entity that could bring their daughter back, and that entity answers. But what returns is not the girl, it's something much worse. The Annabelle doll becomes the vessel for this demonic entity, which starts to haunt anyone who comes near it. This is where it becomes clear, Annabelle isn't just possessed, she's a key, a bait for something much darker. In the 2014 Annabelle movie, the doll reappears in the life of a young couple, Mia and John. After an attack from a satanic cult, a malicious spirit attaches itself to the doll and hell begins. The entity uses the doll to manipulate and torment, trying in every way to collect a human soul. At this point, it becomes evident that Annabelle doesn't need to move or attack physically. She creates illusions, causes accidents, interferes with perception, and toys with the victims' minds. The evil she represents is subtle, cruel, and constant. Years later, the Warrens finally have Annabelle in their custody, locked away inside a sacred glass case in their artifact room. But in Annabelle 3, when the Warrens' daughter Judy stays home with a babysitter and a curious friend, the doll is briefly released. This short interaction is enough to trigger a wave of paranormal manifestations, freeing other cursed objects from the room. Annabelle doesn't need to do anything on her own. Her mere presence is enough to awaken the evil lying dormant in everything around her. Why would it be nearly impossible to survive Annabelle? Annabelle doesn't act like a slasher movie killer. She doesn't chase anyone with a knife in hand. She doesn't suddenly appear with a cheap jump scare. Her terror is deeper, slower, more psychological. Even locked inside a blessed box protected by prayers and sacred symbols, her influence continues to spread. The evil that surrounds her doesn't need permission to manifest. Just being near the doll, touching it, or even having impure intentions is enough for her to invade your life. Annabelle's victims see things that aren't there. They dream of tragedies. They hear voices. They lose track of what's real. She attacks what's most fragile: faith, sanity, and the connection to reality. The more fear you feel, the stronger she becomes. And the more you try to fight or ignore her, the closer the evil gets. The constant feeling of being watched, the inexplicable events, the psychological pressure, all of it slowly wears you down until there's nothing left. Facing Annabelle is not like facing a monster you can defeat with courage. She is an invisible, sneaky, and intelligent evil. No matter how prepared you think you are, she always finds a way in. To close out the list and take home the gold medal, I choose none other than Valak, the demon with a particular preference for dressing up as a nun. I dare say that this is one of the most terrifying entities in the horror universe, and defeating it is practically impossible as the wicked entity always finds a way to come back. Her presence in The Conjuring 2 and in the spin-off, the nun made it clear that she is not just an ordinary ghost, but an ancient and extremely powerful demon. Her nun form is just a manifestation created to mock faith and holiness, which says a lot about her malice. Valak isn't limited to typical hauntings. She manipulates reality, distorts time and space, invades dreams, controls objects, and worse, she feeds on fear. This makes her an almost invincible threat to any ordinary person, or even paranormal experts. Unlike ghosts, which often have a mission or specific connection to the world of the living, Valak acts purely out of malice, with the goal of destroying faith, corrupting souls, and possessing bodies. Why is it impossible to survive Valak? She's always one step ahead. Valak knows where you are, what you fear, and how to break your mind little by little. Her attacks aren't random, they're calculated to weaken you psychologically before physically annihilating you. Immunity to common methods. Salt, holy water, crucifixes, prayers. None of that works permanently. Valak toys with religious symbols, often subverting them, making even faith seem useless. Possession and manipulation. Valak doesn't need to kill you to win. She can simply possess you, and when that happens, your body is nothing more than a puppet in the hands of an infernal being. You never know if she's gone. Even after exorcisms or banishment rituals, Valak can remain hidden. The biggest trick is making you think you've escaped, until it's too late. Not even the blood of Christ, as seen in the Nun one, was enough to banish the evil back to hell, as Valak managed to create a copy of herself before the church relic pulverized her body. If you find the nun in a dark hallway, running won't help. It's better to kneel and pray for your passage to the afterlife to be swift. That's it, folks. We've reached the end of the list, and now I want to know your ranking. Would you remove any entity from the list, or would you like to include another entity? Leave your answer in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I hope you liked the video, and see ya!